You know, one thing I always take issue with is that you say a bunch of theater nerds, and I am neither a theater nor a theater actor or thespian, nor am I a nerd.
You're definitely a nerd.
Your mother was a nerd.
Hello and welcome to Casting Roles, a D&D and other TTRPG channel, and welcome to a very special video series that we're going to begin for the next few weeks leading up to the launch of Season 3, where we tackle some of the backstory of the campaign to get new viewers in without having to watch necessarily 53 other sessions. And our first episode is going to be a meeting of our main cast and the characters that they portray in the show. And so our first up here, we've got Abel, played by Ronnie, wonderful ace, resident artist, and also player of jury or Juridin. Kaimana, I've got Atwood, aka Kaimana, in the thing, but this is just Kaimana. Our wonderful Jace, who plays Marlo Eviorn. Rob, who plays Saurus. De Dangerous. I don't know actually how to pronounce the last name. Dangerous. All right, so for the first question, so who is your character? Just kind of like basic information, background, not background information, but like race, class, age, physical characteristics, any of that kind of stuff.
Sure. So Jury/Juridin is our half-orc bard. I really want to make a half-orc bard. And funny, I didn't know that much about the physical makeup of the party, but did not realize that no one has strength. And I had this stupid idea to make like a half-orc bard, because half-orcs are always these like barbarians or muscle-bound characters. And I was like, I want to make like a tiny half-orc who is just really pretty and like doesn't do any of that. So they're very like live, and they have the green skin and like the purple hair and purple eyes, and they're great.
And we've got artwork up from the Ace Drew. This is the classic Juridin, and then the new Juridin, which is post all of this
post-trauma.
Slightly darker hair on the post-trauma one, which is interesting, but a new get-up.
I added freckles too, because I was like, freckles always make everything better.
Yeah, okay, so Marlo Eviorn, which I don't know if I've ever told you, last name is a reference to The Hobbit.
Really?
The shapeshifter, like bear man that come along.
Yes.
Bjorn. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. She is a blood hunter with the subclass Order of the Lichen, and now has one level in Rogue.
Sneaky.
She's like 5'9"-ish, with tan skin, yellowish eyes, long black hair with gray streaks, because I unintentionally Witcher-fied my character that's already based on a Witcher.
Love it.
She has her Order of the Lichen armor and her badge. She has kind of like slacks, knee-high boots, navy overcoat, like a scarf that's woven with platinum, and her black hat with like a red band around it, because it's Somalia's hat.
Yep. Love it. Good. And she's a half-elf, right? Yeah.
Half-elf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so my idea when I came up with Abel, it's hard for me to get into a headspace of like, I'm a gnome, goblin, tiefling. So I just made him a simple variant human. He is, as far as physical attributes, he looks like me. You know, I haven't done too much role playing, in the world of tabletop RPGs. So it's easier to kind of get into a character's headspace, just when they kind of look like yourself. And that was my thought process. But like, I think I've only played once before this, and we didn't even have that many sessions, if I remember correctly. So, he's a very human, dark skin. He, as far as his class, when the new Artificer class came out, I was extremely excited and just instantly obsessed and drawn to that one. So I wanted to make him an Artificer, So he is an artillerist, artificer. As far as like age range, I think we talked about in our session 0 and before the session 0, we were going to make him like late teens, so like 18 or 19 years old, if I remember correctly.
His age has changed a lot. I have no idea.
I think canonically now we're going to say canonically he is 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, my name is Kaimana K-Alkai. I am a Lutrinian. That's like the Otter folk. And I think someone called me a druid once.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I can control nature powers.
Transform into things when you want to.
Yes, I can shape change too. Kind of like how Mark can, but it's different.
Yeah. Although I think it's pretty obvious from the image.
It's like I said, the inspiration was Danger Mouse. I'd been thinking about a monk because I'd never played one in 30 odd years of D&D experience. And I thought it might be fun. And so I was trying to get a hook into it besides just your normal kung fu, the silent monk type who's gone walkabout. And I was flipping through something and ran across the new Adventures of Danger Mouse on like Netflix or Amazon or whatever. And I was just like, he fights with his hands and feet.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and just the ratkin and the eye patch, and it just kind of gave me a interesting hook into the character, even though it's completely different. But it gave me something to build from. It gave me a visual of who he was.
Nice.
And for those of you who've seen Danger Mouse, yes, Kana is the Penfold substitute.
Perfect. All right. So,
let's see. And we played him that he was basically created through scientific and magical experimentation, which means I don't have to remember all the lore and stuff that everybody else does because he's only 2 years old. And he doesn't know this. So every time Josh is like, do a history check, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yep.
There's not a remote chance in hell that I would know this. So just going to let that go.
Yeah. So second question. So Jordan's backstory has kind of exploded in the last couple sessions.
To their dismay.
But there's still some elements I'm sure that are going to be kept secret. But what are some formative events from their past?
So I think that the biggest part of their history as characters when they join Vox Populi, they obviously have some kind of it was revealed in the last session that they were a noble. Oh god, I broke his heart.
House Windsor,
Yes, they're of House Windsor. They're a noble. It hasn't 100% been confirmed, like why they did that or anything. But everyone knows at some point they met Iris, the leader of Vox Populi, and seem very passionate about Iris specifically as a person and the movement. And their main goal is to just help people who need help, and that's like their driving force, especially if they've been like oppressed in any kind of way. So,
well, I met this lady in the ocean once, and she was the kind of person who helped me become a druid. That was important.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a formative event. And my coming of age ceremony, that was a big one.
Speaking of leaving the nest, let me talk about his he's the citizen of the island nation of Nuevia, which is right off the coast of Alyria, which is the main continent near the coast of Alyria.
One of the two surviving countries after the subversion. Yeah.
With a very traumatic backstory as a people, those poor Nuevians.
They do.
Let's see, he's an only child to his two parents. Oban, who is chief engineer / builder. He's kind of like Daedalus. He's the Daedalus of the Nuevian,
I think his official title is Forge Master.
Okay. Yeah. So he just comes up with the ideas, schematics, plans that are, ingenious and inspired, and helps to build them. And then his mother is the Archmage of Nuevia.
The Lioness of Nuevia.
Yes, that's the title we gave her.
Yep.
So she's kind of like, her name is Orisha. She is kind of like the sovereign's, right-hand woman. Yeah. So when it comes to strategic battle magic and all this stuff, Abel's mother is who the sovereign leader will go to as far as, what's your opinion on this? How should we approach this situation? So, and that's the stock that Abel comes from.
Cool. So Mar grew up in the Veltlands with her mom and dad on a farm, and she was bitten by a werewolf at the age of 14.
As it happens.
And they didn't know if the bite would take until her first full moon, and it was really rough, and no one was hurt, but it was like a close call. So she ended up going to Manor Heath to live with Amalia and Eris, who were two other lycanthropes. And Amalia kind of like trained her and got her like to learn how to like do basic control, and tried to, convince her that this wasn't like the end of her life. And she was like, I don't know about that. And then Amalia and Eris were kidnapped like about 4 or 5 years later, which we found out was the Haverleys.
It was.
So Mar set off on her own for like a decade to try to figure out like what happened and try to find them. She ended up in a temple of Suvenar, which is when she decided that was going to be her god, and the god of water and the moon and change and stuff. She doesn't worship it because it's the moon. Because of the change thing. That's just irony, and because I thought it was funny.
I love it.
And then she ended up having a full moon in the deep wood, where she was found by the Order, and they were like, well, I mean, we're right here. And she was like, oh my fucking God. And so she joined the Order of the Lycan, and that's kind of her thing.
Yeah, well, it's, escaping from a lab and being found by the monks in the Rift. So came from an area that's lower class, but free-spirited in a lot of ways. So that kind of ties into his opposition to things being caged, both physically, literally, and metaphorically.
Right. So what do you think are Marlowe's major or driving motivations in their life?
Yeah. She's definitely driven by like a sense of justice, I'd say. Like she has kind of like a very personal and specific moral code, which I think is not like exactly lawful or chaotic. Like I've got her like lawful neutral, but it's like lawful in the sense that she follows like her own sense of like the law. Because there have definitely been moments in the campaign where she's like agreeing with what the law is, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, fuck it, I'm gonna kill Lady Haverley inadvertently. She definitely wants to like seek out corruption is something that she's really fallen into, both like bureaucratic and then the Veil. And she's really quite loyal, and I think just wants to like serve and protect like other people, because it's like she's got this curse, and so if she can use it for something good, then that's about the best she can do with the situation that she's in.
I really like finding unique things.
What are some unique things that you found that really stood out?
I found this really big glowy rock thing. Someone called it a tide bond. I just call it my shiny. It's like my favorite shiny. Yeah.
It's a totally unimportant object.
No, I had it forever and no one noticed it for like days. And then
now
they made a big deal about it when we found a second one.
Yeah, now you have two.
Yeah, two. There's supposed to be more. Some really mean lady said that she wanted all of them, and that's greedy.
Yeah, that's true. Why does she need all the shiny rocks?
I want all of them. I should have all of them.
Yes. See if the ticket takers can make that happen for you.
I also like tickets. Tickets mean, or they call it like money, right? Some tickets get you shiny, so I like tickets by association.
Nice.
So, like you said, to help other people is kind of their biggest thing. Using Vox Populi to do that. I don't think Jury has like talked about with the group like how they feel about music either, which I think they have a very like interesting relationship to music, which we haven't really gotten into yet. And anytime they've played music, it's either been like to revolutionize people, or it was like one time they were sad and drunk and did like a sad song at the bar, and like, but they really haven't done anything like that since. And they heard him playing music in his room once when he was upset. But that's really like we haven't gotten into that. I think there's some cool character building I've been doing with that too.
Mix of revenge against the bishop, now king, as well as just discovering the world. Yeah. You know, he's new to all of this, and so joining an adventurers guild seemed like a good way to do this and experience new things and new people and interact in new and exciting ways with the world and learn, because he doesn't have that educated background, so it's learned by experience. Which has served him well so far.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely learning a lot from the world around him, for sure.
What he's learning, right and wrong, good and bad.
Maybe not so much.
I think with Abel, it goes back to those stories that he heard growing up. I think with him, there's a sense of his people lost something. They were robbed of something, and it's not just his responsibility, but the responsibility of every citizen of Nuevia to try and rebuild what was taken from them in some way, whatever that may look like. It might not be, hopefully one day they'll be able to destroy the veil and restore the world to what it was, but the stories that he heard of, like the glorious continent that they came from, and the beautiful nature and the magical feats they were able to accomplish, and just the people being together and there for each other, they lost something. And in Abel's mind, he would want to help them rebuild or build better. And in a way to try to make sure that type of thing can't happen as easily to his people or the people of Alyria again. So I think that's his motivations.
Now, if like shiny things and finding things is what motivates Kaimana, what holds you back? Or what are your fears?
I really don't like being around people who kind of have more shiny things than they can hold.
Okay.
Like, if you can't touch it or have it all the time, why have it? Like that. Those people creep me out.
Clear they have like intimacy issues with other people. I think you could kind of tell like their main like job for Vox Populi is like information gathering, and so Jury has this like two of Jury's biggest problems is if someone has a secret, they like have to know what it is, and it like really really bothers them if like people try to keep secrets for them or don't tell them things, like which is going to be a great conversation with Mar, isn't it? But they so that's like really hard for them to deal with. And the other problem is like with the people they care about, not using that information in like a malicious way,
right? Which
I think also happened with Mar. That point where I was like, you're just being paranoid, and like knew exactly what to say to like irritate them. I think, and then with Abel doing the same thing where it's like saying very like specific things to get under your skin, like Juri just sometimes defaults to doing that.
Yeah.
And can be difficult for them. So
with Abel, I think of it like he does not want to fall short. He knows that his parents are very high achieving individuals, and he sometimes it's you're in your own head too much. Like, how would my mom approach this? You know, what decision would she make? If I do this, is that what dad would do? Like, is that the right thing to do? And he probably spends a lot of time questioning what he should do instead of just doing it.
Mhm.
I don't know that he's got fears per se. Not saying he's fearless or doesn't care. I mean, obviously doesn't want to be caged again.
Yeah.
But it's a holding him back is that ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he sometimes reacts in unpredictable ways for other people, because who in their right mind would do this?
Right.
Well, given the limited information I have and the limited experience I have, it makes perfect sense. Which is why I think he fits in so well with the ticket takers, because we're this bizarre mix of abnormal people from a social standpoint.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, it was kind of the thing Yorian called out about her, is that she always relies on her lycanthropy, which is so funny because I didn't use it early in the campaign.
Yeah.
I was like nerfing myself because I didn't want to pull it out in front of the party. And I think now she's kind of come to this place where she only sees herself of use to the group because of the lycanthropy and because she's a fighter, and doesn't really consider herself useful or helpful in any other sense.
Yeah.
And you know, and I mean, I mentioned this before, but Mars got a deep fear of being vulnerable and opening up to people. And I think that was something that existed a little bit like before the lycanthropy even happened, but that just compounded it and made it so much worse. And especially after, you know, building these relationships with Amalia and Eris and then losing those. I mean, I think that is something she's really like is holding her back a lot from like connecting to the group and really like coming into herself.
Like the goals that your character had entering into the campaign, and then maybe if those goals have transformed or changed with the interaction with what's going on.
Jury has had a very cool like internal change that's kind of, I think you I think realize it the most because you know kind of like the inner workings of everything.
Yeah.
But I have this idea of Jury where they had something they really wanted to accomplish and they joined Vox Populi, and the thing was Vox Populi is like they do want to do it for a very noble reason, but they have selfish means that they want to accomplish with that as well. Things they think are selfish. And so I think they've been in the movement for a while, and they just kind of feel like this sense of like, I can't do selfish things because my heart should be wholly on this movement.
Yeah.
And part of like the Yorian breakup is this like, I mean, they said that like it was his, you know, all of his ideals and stuff like that. But now it's kind of come out that they had a separate identity and like, and they seem to have complicated feelings about being in Vox Populi as well. So I think Jury, they feel like their heart's not fully in it for reasons we're like getting into now.
Right, yeah.
Oh, dude. I mean, Mars' goal since she was bitten has always been to cure the lycanthropy. And it's so hard because that, you know, doesn't exist necessarily. And I think every other lycan in her life has like either come to terms with what that is or is proud of it and utilizes it and doesn't want to lose it.
Or made the choice to have it to start with. Yeah.
God. Yeah. And so I think that's That's always been her goal. And because she wants to go home, and because of what happened and why she had to leave, she does not consider herself able to go back home while she's still a werewolf.
Well, my goal always was to find neat things. Neat things can be objects or animals or people. And I get to hang out with a bunch of really neat people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They let me name us the ticket takers. It was awesome.
That's true. That's where we get the Ticket Taker Club. The full title comes from Kaimana.
No one says it except for me.
You're the only one who says the full title?
Ticket Taker Club. Yes. You never say it.
I shortened it. I apologize.
You just say ticket takers.
Yeah, ticket takers.
Every episode you say ticket takers.
I'll start every now and then throwing in the Ticket Takers Club.
It's TTC. It's the Ticket Taker Club.
Yeah.
Well, now that he's discovered the other Ratkin, there's a sense of wanting to make sure they're okay, and ownership. You know, he was the first created, so, and he's freer and more experienced than they are. But he sees himself. He was like Beaker when he first came out, the limited.
Yeah.
You know, he's much more vocal and verbose now than he was then, and just kind of, I'm not quite sure what to do or how to react. And the monks took him in, so he's trying to do the same thing for them to make sure they're taken care of and that they're going to be okay and stuff. And this is just another item on his list.
Well, in our session 0, we had a situation where Abel was packing up on the airship with his father and the crew people, leaving Nuavia, dropping off a brand new airship model to the royal court in Alyria. And in that trip, they were attacked randomly by a group that they still aren't really sure who was completely behind that. And during that, Abel was able to flex his innovation, his ingenuity. He met people who were probably not entirely good or bad. They kind of fit into a gray area, which kind of intrigued him a little bit. And just the excitement and the adrenaline of being, I think we leveled up from level
1 to 2.
Yeah, or did we go to level 3?
No, you hit 3 after the Ticket Takers.
Oh, okay, sorry. So, he did level up and got, a couple of got infusions, right? A couple new things. So in my mind, I would see that initial session 0 adventure is what pushed Abel, who was originally heading to Alyria's Violet Cloister School of Magic, which would have been his mother's alma mater. She left Nuavia at some point as a young adult and expanded her knowledge of magic at the Violet Cloister. And with Abel, I kind of thought of it as, I'm going to this new school and it's going to be a great, opportunity for me. They told me I had to choose. Really, I wanted to go to the other school that was about artificing and building and using magic in that way. But my mom really wanted me to go to her alma mater. And that's where she says she, was able to really expand her knowledge of magic. And in Abel's mind, he's thinking, did I get into this school on my own merit? Was it my ability and my knowledge that got me in? Or was it the fact that my mom's reputation, gave me the golden ticket to get in? So yeah, after that initial adventure and with those doubts going through Abel's mind, when he got to Alyria and he was supposed to go down, the yellow brick road to lead him here, he decides, maybe I'll kind of see what type of adventure I can find for myself.
What are some of the most important moments for Soros so far in the campaign, or just Soros's favorite moments in the campaign so far?
Well, among favorite moments are the ticket takers competing against the what were they? The devourers,
the slaughterers,
the slaughterers. Where because it seemed it's set up a microcosm. We're constantly underestimated because we are these weirdos.
Yep.
And there's a giant talking rat and an otterkin who acts like a child and who is the group leader. Because no one else wants it.
Yeah.
We have Marlowe, who's the sixth ranger against their own will. And Abel is Abel, and Jordan, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
We're just party hot mess. But it started out there with Kaimana turning into the giant moose to jump on the bell thing, and Source making the obstacle course run. It's just like monk.
That ranger was outclassed.
I was like, and I dash and I use my, and it was just kind of like I got this one, which was a fun victory, and it just that started to me. Oh, this guy can be fun.
Yeah.
This guy can do things. Oh, monk's got good movement. Okay, I can use that. Obviously, the Lady Haverly talking the Displacer Beast into earning its own revenge.
Yep.
Because that seemed the appropriate thing to do, and just and me as the player knowing that the other guys in the party didn't know, and it's like, I can't wait to see their reaction when I do this.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. The party learning about her lycanthropy and the night with Hottie and Skull. I mean, that was the first big one for her. I think she thought the party was going to kick her out as soon as they realized, and they didn't. And to, half of them, it wasn't even a big deal, because they are also beasts. And it wasn't in some sense or another. So they didn't see her any differently. And so that was kind of huge for her, especially Hottie and Skull. And that was the first time anybody had mentioned a cure and said there might be a way, this might be possible. One of Mars' least favorite moments, but certainly a huge fucking moment, was becoming the Sixth Ranger. Because she felt like she really couldn't say no to that, even though she very desperately wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think that's Mars' entire relationship with the Order, is thinking that she is like, if she ever says no to them or refuses them, that they'll just fucking kill her or put her in jail or something like that, which may or may not be true, right? But that's what Mar believes.
I would say his initial decision to stick around in Broadfield and join the ticket takers, because he was on which is kind of, that's going to be campaign defining for everyone, right? Like, what brings them together? Might be a little bit of a cop out, but like I said, from session 0 to that first group session, I think that would be a key campaign moment for him. Also, I'd say getting to know Marlowe, only because when Marlowe first exposed the fact that she was a lycanthrope or werewolf, and it kind of threw Abel for a loop in my mind, where he's like, I don't think I can trust her. Like, her physical characteristics remind me so much of those Rakshasa that I heard about, and, growing up, and the role that the Rakshasa played specifically on terrorizing, his people before they came to Nuevia, and the damage that they did to his people, and then Marlowe's physical traits when she, as a werewolf, and the fact that werewolves are kind of known for losing control and being ferocious beasts and attacking humans. But getting to know Marlo and seeing the fact that she struggles a lot with her werewolf affliction, and seeing some of the things that she's secretly on her own she's researching how to get rid of the werewolf curse, and she is sort of suffering alone, kind of puts Abel in a space of like, oh man, I feel bad for her. Like it's not her fault. We kind of know how that the werewolf curse is passed on, and she didn't ask for it. I don't think Marlo's come out. Has she come out and told us how she was? I think she did in one session.
I can't remember. I know it was discussed in her standalone session, but I think she might have talked about it in a session with you all too.
I think she did. Well, just knowing how she kind of tortures herself with her werewolf curse, and she's looking to try to do anything she can to fix it. Mm-hmm. And also we had a battle where a Rakshasa actually popped up when we were in one of the labs of Aruman. Mm-hmm. And just facing Abel's boogeyman, and with Marlo being there by his side, whether she in that fight, I can't even remember if she did anything specific to she didn't dive in front of a javelin and take a blow for Abel or anything like that, but it's just the fact that this is my boogeyman, and then the person that I've been kind of equating to him, and I don't think he was ever outwardly too rude or whatever towards her. Just in my mind, I always thought he's probably going to be kind of weary of Marlo. Mm-hmm. And just seeing those two in that same space and realizing, oh, this is what I'm really concerned about, compared to this person that I fought alongside and has proven herself to be noble and to have some morals. It's not fair for me to compare the two.
I think really I try to make each day more special. Okay. I really want every moment to just be a good moment. I try to live in the moment. Mm-hmm. I try not to dwell on the past too much, but I'm a little scared that maybe I made Abel upset. I'm not sure Abel likes me anymore.
Oh no! Because of hitting.
Well, I screamed and murdered his doppelganger.
It's true, but that did save Abel's life because the doppelganger was going to attack and kill him.
But I didn't like doing it, and Abel hasn't said to me that he is okay with it, and he did watch me kind of murder him.
Yeah.
There are so many really good things I love. I think that first night when I joined, and it was I did my song and kind of gave them a free meal and everything, and we had this it's just a cool bard moment. I haven't played a more traditional bard in a while. Not that Jordan's necessarily a traditional bard, but a more kind of traditional bard. And I'm trying to think what else was really cool. There was that bit. Jordan was originally envisioned to be this very cool, very suave character who was unbothered by a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then this Yorian shit started happening, and Josh plays Yorian so well. Yorian gets just and we had the dungeon when we went into the mines, and just got my shit rocked the entire time. Kept rolling badly, but rolling badly is so fun,
It creates some of the best story moments for sure.
Yeah, and we had this bit where Yorian, part of Jordan's thing too is this inferiority complex to Yorian, or feeling they're indebted to him in some way, and then he's really useful in the dungeon, and my character wasn't as much, and so it was this the facade started to slip there, I think, really, and the party was kind of seeing it.
All right. So I'm going to mention a member of the Ticket Takers, and I just want to get Kaimana's thoughts on that Ticket Taker, and we'll go alphabetical. So thinking of Abel, I know you've already mentioned that you're kind of worried about whether he likes you or not. What are Kaimana's thoughts on Abel?
Oh, he's smart, but not in ways I'm sure are useful. I mean, he helps a lot, but I keep thinking that maybe there was a simpler way to do it.
Okay. There's an easier way to crack an oyster shell?
Yeah, and he always got some special little tool or something like that. And it's really shiny, but they break so easy.
Especially when Kaimana breaks them.
I didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah,
You can't prove I did that.
yeah, we won't go back and watch episode 9.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're starting with Abel. So super funny. Judy has like a really funny relationship with Abel, as people have picked up if you're watching. In that he is like always a bitch to Abel, just like so rude
So
for no
mean.
reason. But it's that like subtle kind of petty rude where you don't. And there's a lot of components to that feeling towards him, which we haven't really gotten into yet. But obviously, like, Jury has an axe to grind with nobles, which is kind of hypocritical. But but there's more to it, I promise.
Which is also interesting because Abel doesn't see himself as a noble.
Yes, but that's almost like, it almost makes Jury madder because Abel is doing something they wish they could have done at the same age.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so it's almost his naivety really like gets at Jury as well, because Jury is very like, and like I said, he blew his cover really early on, and like it is that like that naivete that I think he's like just drives Jury like a little bit insane. Like, you're just too trusting and like too open-minded about stuff, even though magically we're like the only ones that are on the same level.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I like Jury desperately wants to talk to Abel about like magic shit, but they're just like, I don't like him. And then he'll say something nice, and Jury's like, don't make me like you. Swear to God, I don't want to like you.
Okay, Abel's so sweet. Like, can you not love Abel?
But there was like my favorite moment so far for sure has been like me and Mar get into the fight, and then Abel's like, no, Jury's good. Like, you need to make up with them. That'd be so amazing. Comes downstairs and like facilitates this whole thing, and then I'm like immediately rude to him.
Yeah, and he's just like, I choose to ignore it.
Amazing. It's so funny.
Oh, Abel. She still kind of worries that Abel doesn't trust her because of the lycanthropy.
Yeah.
Because he was the one who was really vocal about not trusting her. And it's funny because what he was really saying was he didn't trust the order, but she took it so personally.
Yeah.
And it was because he was saying all her worst fears, you know? It's like he was voicing like, well, what if, you know, you don't have control? And what if the order is secretly evil and all this stuff that she does worry about? And you know, Mars sees Abel as like a little brother figure almost. Well, yeah, I mean, 'cause it's like his dad asked her to watch out for him, and you know, the way Alyria talks about him is so like, obviously she jokes around that like, and they, you know, have this like little brother sister combative relationship, but like she loves Abel, you know. So she's really come around with Abel, and Abel's the one who, you know, their views most often align in the party. Yeah, they're the ones who usually are trying to be somewhat more law-abiding than everybody else, which is fun. Abel's the one she asked permission from before calling Kalyan, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah. That was a big moment. And I think like the moment when you saw the Rakshasa and saw like the fear from Abel, I think that kind of revealed more about.
It really clicked in Mars' head. Well, it's the thing is like she's never resented Abel for that. It's always been, she understood where he was coming from. And you know, she still worries that he thinks about her like that, but she is seeing him like start to come around and really start to like trust her and open up to her about like what he's worried about and stuff.
Abel is interesting. There's a lot of respect for Abel because he is highly educated, which is something Source knows he's not. And so having this person who has this completely different skill set and completely different background and experiences, but who's got something that he envies in certain ways, which is knowledge. So there's a lot of respect there. There's also fun with the fact that Abel can't seem to hit the broadside of daylight with a firebolt, which is just fun. It's just like, really, come on, but it's once again, it's consistent. So it's now an in-world thing that Abel just can't shoot straight.
Well, and that curse spread to me because I had a character that was using Firebolt and I missed like 3 of them. So whatever he established, Firebolts just don't work in this world.
It's highly inaccurate. It's like it's like the flintlock pistol. It's a round ball, no rifling. Anywhere after 3 yards, it could go anywhere.
Yep. But starting with Juridan,
I think Abel sees Juridan as like Abel sees Juridan as one of the kids when he was young. They used to pick on him for reading too much. And Abel's just like, and then finding out that Juridan comes from like noble stock. She's, just as rich and as pampered as Abel was growing up. He's like, oh, I got your number. Okay. I had plenty of nights complaining to my mom about how like they're just so mean to me. And she, we been there, done that. I think he respects Jury and what their skill set is, which is very close to Abel's in a lot of ways, but as far as the magic use, but he's just kind of like, I know why you pick on me. It's fine.
Because Jury does try to get a rise out of Abel almost every single session in some way.
It's not going to work. Abel's above it.
Juridan is... I don't know what to think of Juridan now. A lot happened recently with Juridan. Juridan okay, I'm going to talk about Juridan like he was Juridan before last time.
Okay.
Before I knew Juridan went by that other name. Okay?
Okay.
Juridan is like really fun and really talented and has weird songs that make you cry.
That's true.
They make me feel kind of bad, but in like a way I enjoy. It's weird. I've never had these feelings before. So that's a good thing for him.
To experience new emotion? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do, but I definitely didn't set out to do it.
Jury and Mar are foils for each other.
Yeah.
Ace and I have talked about it. It is crazy that they created this character without knowing anything about Mar and how similar they fucking are without seeing it in each other.
Yeah.
I think, at first she didn't trust Jury for shit because they were coming after what Vox Populi had done at the Adventurers Academy. And so that lost pretty much all her respect for Vox Populi.
Yeah.
And the way Jury talked about Vox Populi reminded her of the way like people talked about the Order, and she was like, Mar's very, I've said this before, Mar's very against like organized groups.
Yeah.
Like in that way. Because she's very convinced that like people will often fall into these like mentalities where they just all think the same way and don't question each other and will become like corrupted in their own way, even if they want to fight corruption. She started to trust them more in Feldspar, with seeing them in Armand's like lab and stuff like that. That's where, she kind of was like, okay, no, they're looking out for the party. They're putting themselves out there. That fight, as I mentioned, really hurt her. I guess she just thinks that like Jury means well, but it's funny because Jury is always the one talking about like, Abel not having the bigger picture and not knowing what the world is like. And Mar's like, you don't fucking know what the world is like. And I think the big turning point for Mar with Jury is when they got between Bolton and Yorian, because in the moment Mar was just like resigned and like exasperated, but was like, I finally get you, because you're someone who will protect your loved ones at all costs.
Yeah.
And that's you know, Mar really respects that.
Yeah.
And that was the moment, you know, they decided like, no, Jury is worth saving and Jury is worth protecting.
Jurden is interesting. Source hasn't quite figured them out yet. He's not naive, but he tends to take people on their surface levels. But he also knows that there's stuff Jurden isn't saying, which we just found out Source hasn't. But the party has that. That paranoia was justified.
Yep.
You know, but it's just one of those. It's like, okay, they're kind of a honorary ticket taker in his mind. They're still not entirely part of the group because they do have their own mission and motivations, but they also are a weirdo and fit in with this bond.
Yeah.
So it's likes Jurden, but doesn't trust them any further than they can throw them.
All right. What about Kaimana?
Kaimana, also a interesting relationship. Jury still doesn't believe that he's the leader. Thinks it's some kind of like elaborate prank that's being played upon them. I don't know. In this last bit of Feldspar where he's like on the ship, believed it like a little bit more maybe. But the funny thing is, it's just like Jury kind of like doesn't treat him like people. Like is always like, oh, you're like a cute little animal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's adorable. And we'll let him kind of do leadership stuff, but like message him like, okay, well, make sure you say this. Like, don't say that. Like, I'm actually the mouthpiece, but you can pretend like you're doing that.
Who does Jury think the leader really is?
Mar.
Makes sense.
I think Jury thinks the leader is Mar, but like Mar doesn't want to be the leader. So they're like, okay, like Mar's pretending like the Otter's the leader. Okay.
Yeah.
Kaimana, I think we had talked about Abel, where Nuevia is situated. They would have been introduced to Kaimana and his, well, not Kaimana specifically, but his
people,
his race of people.
Yeah.
I think Kaimana's like a funny little cute guy who I'm shocked to see him this far away from his people, but I think he knows that Kaimana's for, you know, like living in the moment and enjoying shiny things. And Abel's like, you do you go, Glen Coco, you go. You live your best life.
Oh my god, she fucking loves him.
Yeah.
I think like everybody did in the beginning was like, oh, what the fuck is this guy's deal?
Yeah.
Like what? Like, and you know, not really taking him seriously.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, Kaimana is the one that helped her start to open up. And he thinks so highly of her and is like in just such an honest way, you know what I mean? Like he's so coming to her about the Abel issue and being there for her on like the full moon. I mean, she feels almost motherly towards Kaimana, you know? I mean, she like has swaddled him up while he's drunk like 2 times.
Yeah.
No, she feels this need to like really protect the whole group, but like especially Kaimana.
Yeah.
I love Kaimana.
Yeah.
How can you not love Kaimana? And you know, I've tried finding different places to find shiny things for Kaimana.
Yeah.
Starting in the original adventure of taking him to the shop to turn in the tickets.
Yeah.
To be able to get his snow globe and his spoons and stuff. So there's part of it is a partial sense of protection, but there's also a understanding and respect that Kaimana doesn't always need protection, because Kaimana can fend for themselves quite well.
Yeah,
they are a powerful druid. I think one of my favorite interactions with Kaimana was Kaimana's like, why don't we can't just go and start killing everybody? We need to talk to him first. Okay. What if they don't do something?
Yeah.
All bets are off. Okay. At that moment, Sora's like, I can work with you.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on Mar?
Mar, I think I kind of summed up Mar. I think I've gotten more. I will say that I think he respects Mar's physical abilities outside of werewolf form. Mar is very capable as a human. Oh no, she's a half elf, right?
She's half elf, yeah.
Mar is a half elf, but Mar is very capable. I think he does respect her, like her swordsmanship and things like that. So.
Speaking of Mar, my like love-hate relationship with Mar, we're just like, me and Mar are so funny, and like me and Jace have gotten really, really close after playing game for so long, and just in general. And yeah, our characters are like, I think they probably talked about this a lot too, but like they're really crazy foils for each other and have very similar backgrounds. I don't know how that happened. And we were talking about this
magical.
Yes. Well, we were talking about, it was so funny because you sent me the list where it was like, here's the noble backgrounds you can pick from. Like you did not like slot.
I said, here are the patricians. Yeah.
Yeah, you said, here are the patricians. Pick one. And I picked the Windsor family, which is the Amalia link. Yeah, it's just so funny that like that would be the link. And now we have this like crazy character relationship where like her mother figure is like related to my character, but Jury like doesn't seem to know who that is. And
because they're like a black sheep of the family. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like kind of didn't believe that she was in it until Mar was like, I dropped her off with the patrician family. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you dropped her off there? Like, what does that mean?
Groceries? It's a DoorDash.
Yeah, I'm so confused. Like, what?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just have like a crazy, crazy complicated, like so tender with each other, but also like the first ones to fight, I think.
Yeah.
Like the first ones to be like, what the hell are you doing? To each other.
Mar's awesome. Mar doesn't say a lot, but does a lot that speaks for them. I don't often have to ask what Mar is thinking. Mar helps me a lot understand some things that I'm not even smart enough to ask. Like whether I should have that 7th beer or not.
But you don't always listen to that advice.
I did, well, yes, but also I didn't know that was a question you could ask.
Soros has a lot of respect for Marlowe. Finds their social ineptitude amusing because that was them 2 years ago. When Soros started out, it's like, I know what you're going through. I grew out of that. Yeah. But the fact that Marlowe and Soros tend to be the ones to jump into the fray, they're the tanks, while the others are the support. There's a lot of times in battle where Soros will counter around so that they can give Marlowe flanking when it's their turn.
Yeah.
And it's just going, we're working this as a team. You and I are going to get the crap beat out of us, but we're going to do a lot of damage and keep them off of those guys so that they can do what they need to do. And at the end, we're going to win. Yeah. And if one of us goes down or both of us goes down, they'll take care of us because we'll have whittled the enemy down enough that it's something that they can handle. Yeah. A yeoman-like workmanship of there's a job to be done, got to roll up the sleeves and get in there and do it.
Nice.
Which is not to say that you can't use your brains and do tactics and ambush things or do other things to give you advantage or even negotiate your way out of certain situations. But when it comes time to go to work, you go to work.
Yeah. Jordan, as an outside person, called it like the mom and dad of the ticket takers. Like everyone else is so like naive children, and then like you've got Soros and Mar like the parents.
Which is terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
There's a trust there now because of not because we did something horrible, but because it's like, this person deserves this. And you see that clearly.
Yeah.
But you also you're not also going too far. We just walked out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do the dirty work so the others don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't need Kaimana to lose his innocence.
Yeah.
God knows we don't need Kaimana to lose.
No, God.
He's an anchor point. Kaimana keeps the rest of the party from going too dark. And Abel, to a lesser extent, that same thing. They're the two. You know, if you were to ask me alignment, it's like, okay, they're good. Yeah, they are definitely good. Jordan, Marlo, and I are in the neutral zone. Yeah. You know, we're willing to cross some lines that others aren't.
All right. And then the other founding member, Saurus.
Saurus is the one I think she understands the best, because their moralities align a lot, I think, in terms of like, I think this was the Haverly thing, especially. Like, she trusts Saurus out of anyone to be the one to cross the line when it needs to be crossed in a way that she does not see that coming from Abel or Kaimana. And not in a way where she's like, oh, they're naive or they don't understand. It's just Saurus is the one who's constantly kind of proven that, like, he's ready to do what it takes, you know? Yeah, I mean, that Haverly moment, I think, was the strongest kind of agreement between Mar and Saurus of like, no, we'll be the ones to do this. Yeah. And we're not going to talk to the others about it. We know what we've done, and that's it. It's almost like the mother and father making a decision that the kids don't need to know about. Yeah, for sure. Mar's a planner more than an improviser. I mean, she'll do, you know, she runs on instinct in the moment for sure. And she obviously has learned with the group that plans usually fall apart. But yeah, she thinks Saurus is a little reckless. Yeah, so it's been fun to see her react to some of Saurus's plans. I think the moment where that came out the strongest was Saurus going along with Yorian's whole thing. Yeah. And her being like, the fuck not? Why are we even considering this? Like,
Saurus is really neat because I haven't like been able to like sit down as a character and talk to Saurus a lot, but there was this really cool point in the last episode where you could like tell how much Jury cared about Saurus in it, especially when the rats got introduced and this like idea that he was an experiment. Like, Jury is so like pledged to his cause, and there was just this really cool moment where Yorian like wanted to talk to me on the ship, and I was like, don't talk to me. I have to make sure Saurus is like taken care of. And that was part of what like ran the clock down. It was so funny because like Jury had this idea he would like talk to Yorian and like send him off, but he was so concerned with like what all the ticket takers were doing and making sure they got off the ship and were like safe, that it messed that up. And that was like way more in character than anything I had like thought of. Yeah.
Saurus is, in Abel's mind, like such an unfortunate situation to be in. And I think when Rob was explaining Saurus and what he was and his background at first, and thinking about it from the point of Abel, like Abel's always going to be the one who's like, ooh, let's experiment. Let's see if we can put this with this and this with this. But like, he would never think to do that with a living creature. Right. And he's kind of thinks like, that's such an unfortunate situation to be in, to be the product of an experiment and being a living sentient creature, knowing that, you know, I was put together by a madman. You know, I'm someone's Frankenstein monster. And I think Abel kind of feels sad for him and has a lot of questions for him. But even though Abel's a foreigner in Alyria, he's aware enough to know, like, I shouldn't ask those questions directly to him because it'd be extremely inappropriate. But
Doris is very quiet. I didn't know how young he was till recently.
Did you think he was older than you?
Yes, he's tall.
Yeah. Oh, right.
People taller than me tend to be older.
What about some NPCs that you've encountered, or people not in the ticket takers that have had an impact on Kaimana, or specific ones that Kaimana really has enjoyed meeting?
I really like the Northwick Bun Lady.
Me and Bolton Coon, I want to fight that man to the death.
I love Bolton so much.
He's so good. Well, I just love, like, there was that really scary moment, like I said, where I had been talking about Yorian being a double agent, and then, you know, you rolled, and I didn't know how much he had heard, which was really cool. And, you know, there was also that moment where it was like, I rolled deception against him, you know, to be like, hey, this was all my idea. And it was kind of like, we didn't know how much it worked either. Yeah. So I've had this fun, like, tango with him all through Feldspar, where it's like skirting around his stuff. He, like, also didn't take me 100% seriously either. Which
he never trusted you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think came to bite him in the ass when I Dimension Doored Yorian out, even though that didn't, you know, it didn't come to fruition the way I had hoped.
It was still epic.
It was epic. It was a great moment. But that was fun. And I think it was really cool that, like, I love this, like, bit I did where, like, Juridan did this very cool thing, something that, like, a bard does, you know, and it's supposed to be like a spy movie where it's like, yeah, I saved you and, like, I'm awesome. But they're, like, in the alleyway, like, crying and shaking, like, I can't believe I did this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And, like,
I love that.
And that was their, like, moment where they finally picked, like, a selfish means, and they were like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And then Yorian's like, run away with me. And I was like, don't talk to me.
Alyria. I mean, I think at first Mar was like, oh, Jesus Christ, fucking royalty. Because, I mean, before that, and you know, she had not interacted with people like that, and not rich people, not people with, like, power like that. And it was huge for her. And I mean, Alora's just so, I think what won her respect with Alyria is the way that she was so willing to listen and learn about what the world's like, even though she was so sheltered. Yeah. Through no fault of her own. No, I mean, she really wants Alyria to be safe and okay. And I think especially seeing what she deals with in Anarvir, she's really looking out for Alyria in like a little sister way, I think, you know?
Nice. For Abel.
Favorite NPCs? Well, we've talked about Alyria and their relationship. Princess Alyria is pretty important to Abel. Just their friendship and their connection growing up over the years. Well, have we met that I've had, like, good I mean, I'm still new to the RP thing, so I don't really jump out there and try to role play. Maybe I need to get better at that. Maybe this is my chance to increase my role play personal relationship interactions.
Anarvir is going to be a lot of interactions with people, so it gives you a chance to do that.
Well, okay, there we go. Maybe I'll find a good artificing buddy, or I don't know about, like, relationships though. I feel like we'll see. We'll see if our DM gives us a good NPC that just sparks creativity within me and my role play. So see how I turn that back on?
Yeah, I see.
I did enjoy Phileas, and I like the idea of like his little eccentric kind of twitchy self, teaching Abel and working alongside Abel. Excuse me. So I liked Phileas. I liked was it Isis or Iris? What is her name? Iris. I like Iris's character. I think that she is far too rigid in her thinking when it comes to how she implements things. For Abel's taste.
Yeah.
Her justification of, we do this because it's necessary. But it's like, well, the people that you're hurting, it's, there are plenty of people who be sympathetic to what you have to say, and you can still be, a badass fighting force without, crossing certain lines. And I think she's in an interesting place because she knows that there are factions within her group that are willing to go far further, and who would potentially even be willing to overthrow her if they feel like she's not moving fast enough in the direction that they want to go.
Yeah. Him having a little interaction with Jane, the maid from later Lady Haverly's. It's because part of it is me as the player wanting him to connect with something, and knowing Vox Populi, and that they're a portion of having an in there, not as a calculated in, but as here's a plot point that can come back that we can use in the game potentially. Also, it's a little unexpected. It's why would, because the other people like Sora and them are too far.
Yeah.
They're two extreme personalities. So finding a decent person and going, I want to cultivate that friendship.
Yeah.
To keep me based, because with my revenge thing, I could go too far.
Yeah. So the last thing is a quick round. And these are just really quick questions. You can answer them as briefly as you like. If there's one you're passionate about, for Abel, you can go into more detail.
One word answers kind of thing.
It can be. It can be longer than that if it's something that you feel like Abel would be really feel strongly about.
Okay. All
right. So quick round. First, what is Abel's favorite food?
Now it's meat. I think we established Nuavians were like they ate mostly vegetables and probably seafood. It's an island nation, right? So now he had a taste of bacon, and he was like, pocket bacon? So yeah.
I always saw them as like a pescatarian, so they like fish stuff a lot.
Put me on the spot. I guess that for now it's the Northwick buttons.
Oh God. She's a vegetarian. What would it be? Probably like a good roasted vegetable kind of situation.
Good.
North Cross buns.
Northwick buns. I'm waiting for everyone's answer to be Northwick buns. All right. What about his favorite drink?
His favorite drink would be some like refreshing, citrus, fruity drink that they have on the island of Nuavia.
I feel like they have like the equivalent of like a Moscow Mule or something like that.
The kind I don't have to pay for.
The whiskey.
I don't think he has one.
Okay.
He's not a drinker, but he's not opposed to it.
What are the things that he likes to do in his free time, or his hobbies?
I think his hobbies would be tinkering, to be generic. Tinkering, reading, learning new things, and then implementing them. He's not just like, I want to read a book. He's I'll read a book, but then now let me go and implement what I just learned.
They are trying to figure that out, trying to figure out what hobbies they like and what they like to do as a person. But they don't play just one instrument, so I think they like to try to play their other instrument every now and then, although no one's seen them do that yet.
Yeah.
I like to sleep.
Okay.
But I also like to go explore the woods. Anytime I can find a new creature, it's fun. See something I've never seen before.
Nice.
exploring's a big part of it. I really like just seeing new things.
Journaling and sketching.
Nice.
Learning. I think if Source were to find an afternoon in a museum, he would be just enamored.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Purple. Jerry loves purple.
All right.
Blue. Bluish green.
Blue.
Red.
While he was in school, what was Abel's best subject in school?
Whatever tinkering, his engineering, his auto shop.
His AutoCAD class.
Oh God. I can't say music class. That's too lame. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they like history stuff a lot.
Well, when my aunties were teaching us, I was really good at fishing.
History.
Probably social sciences.
And then the last question is Abel open to or looking for romance in his life?
Maybe. I'm sure he would be. I just am just curious to see what potential love interest would be out there, that who would draw Abel's interest.
This is hysterical. This is so funny because I feel like I've been like hinting at things with Jury as they've gone along, but Jury is demisexual, which they only like people they have like a close relationship to. They only feel sexual attraction to those people, which is like totally opposite of like a stereotypical bard.
Yeah.
And at the current point in their life, I'd probably say no, not at all.
I never thought about it, and I'm not really interested.
Yes.
I love it.
It's a really fun thing where I think if you asked Mar that question, it would be a very different answer.
Yeah.
But I did not intend for this at all, man, until it started happening without my control. Mar's got some romantic tension with a couple of NPCs,
yes,
which is really fun to play.
I don't think it's ever occurred to him because he's the only one of his kind. But as an overall concept, not opposed to it at all.
I need to make a meme too where it's like Josh asked Ace to join D&D party, chaos ensues. It's like the Stitch meme where it's like, send me a player, the best player you could find. It's just like Stitch like,
chaos goblin.
After this.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. This is
thank you.
There's a difference between being peaceful and being harmless. When you are peaceful, you are capable of harm, but you're choosing not to.
That's true.
When you're harmless, you are incapable of causing harm. My people are peaceful people.
But powerful.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kaimana, for coming and joining us and introducing us to any new people out there, and hopefully getting them engaged in what we're creating here. It's been so much of a pleasure playing with you in this game and helping to tell your story. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very good at it.
Well, thank you so much. Well, enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your weekend. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Bye. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week, Rob, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Sounds great. Thank you, Josh.
See ya. Well, thank you, Ronnie.
I appreciate you guys. It's a great campaign. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I don't know how you found me and tracked me down to include me in this campaign, but I appreciate the fact that you did.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No idea.
What is this? I keep hearing Sully jingle jangle.
I don't know. Are you going to walk her when you get done? Because
I just took her out. Like,
she loves spending time with her dad. So.
Are you going to cook dinner while I start editing this video?
I think you're breaking up there a little bit.
All right. All right.
Oh no.
Bye.
Bye.